Hi there, it's Simon Hurley from Inklips and welcome to another video. I hope you guys are having an awesome day, and today I'm super excited to share how to create little lunchbox notes. Now that your kids are headed back to school, you can put these in their lunchboxes and let them know that you love them and want to encourage them throughout the day. Now also, these are super fun to bring on the go and practice different coloring methods since they're so small and easy to finish. And also, they fold up into little mini envelopes, which is super fun, so when your kid opens it, it forms into a heart and reveals the image. And this can be super easily done using this die set called Love Note Pair from Hero Arts. This is super fun to use, and it cuts out little mini envelopes in the shape of a heart and just a regular little envelope, which is great for this and maybe some Valentines in the future as well. So here are the first three little designs I made using that heart die, and then I'll show you how to use the envelope one a little bit later on in the video. Now I picked out a couple different stamp sets with some super loving images and kind of encouraging, and I'm stamping those down, and I'll leave them linked down in the description below if you are interested in finding them. And I'm going to leave an adequate enough space in between them so I can die cut them with those little envelope dies and not have them run into each other. And if you want to stamp two, you can just put them on the same block and stamp a little scene there as well. So after I'm done stamping these down, I'm going to die cut them using that little heart die. And you kind of want to center it, but leave enough room on that middle portion for the sentiment, and you can have some of the other portions overlap on those parts that are going to be scored. So the inside lines of the die will score, and the outside lines will cut that little heart envelope out. So when you're lining this up, it makes it pretty easy to center everything, and we're going to run it through my platinum die cutting machine until each one of these are cut out, and you get these nice little heart-shaped envelopes you can start coloring in. For the coloring today, I'm using colored pencils by Prismacolor to blend them all together, and you could use Gamsol or something to make it go a little bit quicker, but I just prefer coloring in with the regular colored pencils and getting that fun textured look. And as I'm coloring in, you'll notice that I move from one color and all the different projects to the next one and blend like that. That way it's a little bit easier, and you can kind of go through that workflow motion and get it done just a little bit quicker if you're trying to color these in fast. Now, one thing that I did notice as I was coloring these in is that those score lines that the die creates, it kind of rejects the color if you're using something like colored pencils that doesn't really sink into the cardstock. So if that bothers you, you might want to cut these dies out after you're done coloring it. But I decided to do it beforehand so I wouldn't risk it in case if the die cut messed up. But if you guys want to do that and you're using colored pencils, that will make it a little bit smoother and you won't have any white spots in those groovy lines. So now I'm moving on to coloring in this little mermaid here, and I do about 2 to 3 shades for each image to just give it a little bit of shading, but you could just do one solid color over all the different animals you're coloring. So now for this little whale here, I started off with a nice light gray color, but I didn't want it to be too bland, so I'm adding in a couple different light shades of purple, yellow, blue, and pink as just kind of some subtle colors that you'll see after the gray, and that just makes it a little bit less boring and adds some more coloring to the piece. So now for these backgrounds, I wanted to color them pretty quickly, so I'm taking the colored pencil on the side and pretty lightly just kind of brushing over the surface, and you could definitely still see the colored pencil strokes, and I'm just trying to throw down a little bit of color in the background and not build up too much wax, otherwise our sentiment won't be able to stamp later on. So I'm coloring these in and adding about 2 different shades for each one for some variation, and then for this background I did a little bit of gray and then some colors like that whale. And then I went back in with the gray and kind of blended everything all together. So that background is a little bit more colorful than the rest. So after I'm finished coloring everything in here, I'm taking some sentiments from some different stamp sets, and like I said, I'll have everything linked down below in the description, but I'm just stamping some little loving and encouraging sentiments right next to those little critters on that inside portion where there's no folds, so it stamps nice and solid. So then on some of the stamp sets, I like to take that like clear acetate and kind of move it around to see if the stamp will fit. And if it doesn't, I'll have to do something like this to cut that stamp down. And I promise the stamp doesn't scream, it just cuts in half, and you can definitely still mount it back together later on, but this makes it so I can stamp it in 2 separate lines. I'm doing the same thing for this I love you sentiment here, and like I said, this doesn't really harm your stamps. You can always add them together later on, just the way that they were, but this makes it so you can stamp it on 2 separate lines. So I love how these little ones fold down into that nice little envelope shape, and then you could could tape it down with some decorative washi tape, and it's really nice and small. So when your kid opens it up, they reveal that fun little heart shape with that little image on the inside, and I just love it. So now I'm going to be sharing how to create another little version of these on those mini envelopes, and these are a little bit more masculine, and there's also a different coloring technique that I use for them. So I'm using this Little Mama Elephant Tiny Hero stamp set, which has a bunch of little heroes in them, and also some super encouraging sentiments, so it's great for little envelopes like this. And then I'm going to line up my little characters inside of there, so there's still room for the sentiment, and then I can run that through my platinum die cutting machine with some tape down, and this just makes it so I can cut those little images out and you get that fun, nice scored envelope. So now to move on to the coloring, I'm using Zig Clean Color Real Brush Pens here onto some Bristol Smooth cardstock, which will kind of help the colors glide and blend on here. And I'm using my new favorite way to color with these. I'm kind of addicted to doing this, and it's pretty quick as well. So if you need a fast method, this is great. I just take one color in each little spot I'm going to do, no shading or anything, but as I color it in, I leave little tiny white spaces, and it makes it look like you kind of scribbled that color on, and it's a super fun way to color these in. Now for something like the cat there, I did give it little spots with another color, but mainly I just use one color in each space, and just leaving that little bit of white space makes it look really awesome. So I also love to do this with these little tiny brush pens because you have that nice fine tip, and some of these small tiny portions like the belt and that little superhero badge are hard to get into with other markers, but these make it super easy. So as I'm finishing up coloring these pretty fast, I can then move on to the background, and it's pretty simple the way that I colored it in. I just took a gray Zig Clean Color Real Brush Pen, and I'm just going around the outside of these images to kind of add a little bit of a shadow and a grounding place for them. Now as I was doing this, I accidentally pulled out some of the color from the image I just colored in, so then I realized it was kind of a happy accident, so then I added some other bright colors right around these images, all still colors that I used in the image, and they're a little bit muted or kind of lighter, and this is so that I can then blend them out after I'm done coloring this in. And I'm just going to use a water brush to kind of blend some of those colors out and blend them together. And since I'm using that Bristol cardstock, it makes them blend out really smooth and nicely. So after I'm done with that, I cut down some more sentiments from that same set, and I'm stamping these down right next to those images as just some super encouraging messages. So after I'm done with this, I can then fold these little envelopes up, and this one just turns into a little mini envelope, and you can again tape that down with some little decorative or washi tape. And once you've done that, when your kid opens it up, they reveal that fun little image on the inside and that nice encouraging message. So I hope you guys enjoyed that. Here they all are finished, and I hope you guys will give this a try. I also do have a set of these dies to create these, so I'll leave a link down below to my blog post, and go check it out in case if you guys want to win over there. So on screen right now is a link to that blog post with all the full supplies list and much more information as well as pictures. And if you click that subscribe button on screen right now, you'll never miss another video like this one, and you can become a part of my Inklips family. Also, if you want to see more videos like this one, there's 2 linked on screen, and I'll see you very soon in another card making and crafting video. Bye!